What is up, y'all? Pro Baller back again with another video where today I'm going to be talking about how the Detroit Lions can beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this is going to be a very interesting matchup because the Lions and Bucks have already versed each other this year. The Lions came out on top 20-6 at Tampa. This time around, though, it's the playoffs. The stakes are way higher, and it's at Ford Field this time. So the Lions, they're going to have home field advantage. Um, it's going to be a tough game for Tampa, I will say. Tampa, they're actually fairly healthy. I will say Tampa is fairly healthy. Shaquille Barrett questionable, Chris Godwin questionable, but they most likely will play. And then the Lions, on the other hand, Sam Laporte is questionable, but he probably will play as well since he was limited last week. He could probably play again this week. Khalif Raymond is the guy, though, that is we are worried about because he is still questionable as well. So I'm going to be talking about a couple things of how the Lions can absolutely, or ways that the Lions can absolutely just crush the Buccaneers. So the first way that the Lions can beat the Buccaneers at Ford Field is pressuring Baker Mayfield. Now, Baker Mayfield, he's had a pretty solid season. 28 touchdowns, 10 picks. He started off a little slow, but he gained a little bit of traction towards the end of the season, and especially in his first playoff game this year against the Eagles. He was doing very good. But we can't forget this dude, Baker Mayfield. He is not perfect. He has a tendency to throw picks. He can fumble at times. He's not the best in the pocket, although he can escape pressure at times. So the Lions, they will have to pressure Baker Mayfield. They will have to pressure him. That's one of the biggest keys to the Lions' success this Sunday is pressuring Baker Mayfield because, yes, he has guys like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans who are very good, but their O-line is not the best right now. They do have Tristan Wirfs, who is pretty solid, don't get me wrong, but the rest of the guys on that O-line, nobody else really noticeable. Ryan Jensen's on IR, so he's one of their main guys, but he's not even going to be playing for them. So the Lions, something you got to do on defense is get pressure on Baker Mayfield. That is a huge factor in if they're going to win or not. So the Lions, they didn't do it much last week. They didn't get much pressure this week. It's a necessity to get pressure. So the second thing, though, I want to talk about is the Lions. They need to pass the ball this game. Now, I know the Lions' running game with Gibbs and Monty is very good, and I don't think the Lions played Gibbs that much when he was playing against the Buccaneers in the regular season game. But I will say the Buccaneers, they have a good run defense. They shut us down the last time we versed them, and this time I think it could be very similar. The Lions, they're going to have to pass the ball, whether it be short or long passes. I think play action could work very well for the Lions this week. Yeah, the Lions, they're gonna have to pass a lot, so that's another key to success for them. They have to pass the ball because the Buccaneers, they're very good against run defense, or they're a very good run defense team. So another thing that the Lions really need to focus on is keeping turnovers to a minimum. They just need to not turn the ball over. Because when this Bucks offense gets hot, it stays hot. We saw it against the Eagles last week. They did really good when they were like starting out the game. They just could not be stopped. Then they quieted down a little bit because the Eagles defense started to sack Baker Mayfield, once again getting pressure. But yeah, so the Lions, they're just gonna have to reduce turnovers, keep it to a minimum. Maybe one is fine, two is pushing it a little bit. Because the Buccaneers defense is so good, so it would be very difficult for the Lions to continuously score. We saw that last week with the Eagles. They have a really good offense, and they even struggled to score against the Buccaneers. So the Lions, they're just going to have to keep turnovers to a minimum. In my opinion, keep the clock rolling. That's another huge factor. They're going to have to keep that clock chewing. Yeah, I mean, Buccaneers, they got some talent, dude. I'm not gonna lie, the Buccaneers have got some talent. They've got Baker Mayfield, who's been pretty solid. Their defense though is the main thing. So once again, Lions they need to keep the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hands, and they need to wear down that defense over the course of this game. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the Lions. The fans need to be loud. That's the last thing. The Lions fans need to be popping. Now, I know that the Lions Rams game, the Lions beat the decibel record in Ford Field. I think it was 128, and it was broken this season, and they broke it again during the Rams Lions game. So they're gonna need to do that again, because Baker Mayfield doesn't perform well when the spotlight's on him, when he's under pressure, like I said earlier. So the Lions fans, they need to be loud, because yes, they were very, very loud against the Rams, or when the Lions were versing the Rams, but there were points in the game where they were very quiet. During the middle of the game, quiet, like no urgency to be loud when they were in the huddle, when the other Stafford was in the huddle. So I'd like to see the fans just get hyped. Like, dude, I don't think enough people realize this. We haven't seen the Lions win a playoff game, not counting last week, for 30 years. We haven't seen it for 30 years, and people like aren't that hype about it. Like, to me, it feels surreal. Like, because I've just been like, my whole existence as a Lions fan is just disappointment, despair, sadness, all of that. So, but the Lions, they got a lot on their plate for this game. However, with all of these factors in play, if the Lions do everything that I've just talked about, I think that they will win. The Lions will win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20-16. Yeah, so that's my prediction, y'all. I think the Lions are going to win 20-16. I think Goff will have a fairly well game. I think our running game will be a little bit quiet, but I think the main thing is our defense. Our defense is going to have a big wake up from last week, because, man, the defense was bad last week. No matter, like, if you look at the score, yeah, you could say, oh, the defense only let Stafford get 23 points or something. But the defense was far worse than that game. They let Puka get like 180 yards, the most by a rookie in the playoffs ever, which, you know, the Lions are just doing Lions things. But yeah, the Lions, if they do everything that I just talked about, I think they could definitely win. So my prediction is 20-16. The Lions are going to get it done at Ford Field, and then either versus the Packers or the Niners. Now, I'm going to get into this for a little bit, and I'm not going to rant about it too long, but I'm not going to lie, call me crazy, but if the Lions versus the Packers, I think they could go to the bowl. It's crazy. This has been a crazy season, and it's been a great season for my channel. My channel's grown a lot, so make sure to like and sub. We got the stream coming up very soon. Texans, Ravens, and UFC 297 is also on the way, so be on the lookout for that. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Sorry if it was a little short, but just figured I'd make a quick video, and I'll see y'all next time. See you later.